All right, what's good, people? It's Isaiah with Smoove Creations. Yes, I know it's been a very, very long time. The world was going through a lot of things back then, and so I was going through a lot of personal reasons, personal issues on my end, as well as trying to pump out as much orders as I could. So I just got really, really, really freaking busy. But the Custom Sneaker Podcast is back. We're here to stay this time, and we have a wonderful guest, Sandez official, who's based in San Diego, California. He's an excellent customizer. He has wonderful product photography, and we're really excited to have him on for today's episode. So, Sandez, I'll really just kind of, let you take the wheel and kind of start off with first, talking about how you got into customizing sneakers, because you actually have a really cool story about really just starting off with phone cases and different things like that. I don't think I've seen any other customizer start off with phone cases or anything else and then go into custom shoes. It's usually the other way around. And so, yeah, the first question, which you already know what it is, but the first question I have is that I was going like through your Instagram channel. You're actually like, I don't think I've seen another customizer. You start off with customizing phone cases, it looks like, and then you moved into customizing shoes. And I thought that was really, really cool because there's not a lot of customizers that do that. So I was just curious as to how you got into customizing phone cases in general, and then how'd you, segue into customizing shoes?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, it's really funny. I think I was just at a mall or something, and I saw somebody with the Louis Vuitton watch band on their Apple Watch.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's super fresh. I mean, I've never seen that before. I didn't know Louis Vuitton made them. So I went home and I kind of looked it up just to be curious, see how much that was. And I didn't see that Louis Vuitton made one.
Right.
When I looked it up, the first thing that came up was a guy named Explicit Designs. And Explicit is a customizer who does custom accessories out of, quality goods like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all those good designers. And he makes things like phone cases, keychains, wallets, all that stuff. And I was pretty fascinated about it, so that you can take a designer brand, cut up one of their bags and then make it your own and then still sell it for pretty much that price. I mean, Louis Vuitton still carries that name. So I was like, wow, if people are going to pay $300 for a phone case, I'll sell one for $100 and just figure out how to do it myself. So I bought my first two bags, just a brown Gucci bag and a brown Louis bag.
Super expensive.
Well, I didn't buy them brand new, that's for sure. Okay. The whole thing I knew is I needed a great outside, I needed great material, so I bought, a used bag that was one, authentic, and two, that had a great quality on the outside, maybe a scuff here or there. And usually the inside of those bags were trashed. I mean, looks like coffee was spilled in them and everything. So that's kind of how I started. Because I bought my first two bags and I was like, this is it. This is going to be the money maker. It's going to be my business. I'm going to do it. And my first year in business, these are my two
those are
bags I used.
And I could tell they were like high quality too. That's what like kind of, because there's a lot of people that have done it and they're like, yeah, like you can tell that the actual like authentic Gucci.
Oh yeah, and you'll see the Gucci reflect change as you turn it.
And there's a lot of people that do it and like it's not like on Etsy and stuff like that. There's a lot of like people that do it and you can obviously tell that it's not real. And so I saw that and I was like, man, that's like really interesting. He started off with that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like how I wanted to break into this business. I was really into streetwear, so I kind of watched people wearing bootleg things like, some Nikes that say Chanel on it or something. I was like, that's so crazy. Or like, just these people creating things that these big brands have never thought of doing. And then just the weirdness of putting two brands together that would otherwise never really collab. I thought it was super cool. So yeah, I did start out with my phone cases. And I mean, these things did okay for me my first year. I was pretty excited. I was selling them at $100 a piece. I did a lot of marketing on them and I found a little niche, in that streetwear community of people who really like bootleg things. And then along that journey, I'd seen my first pair of custom Air Forces, which was a Louis Vuitton pair. And they were sweet. It was real Louis Vuitton stitched onto a Nike Air Force One that was selling for $300. I was like, that's nuts. And I know Air Forces run $100, so that dude's making $200 every pair. That's crazy. And over the next 6 months, I mean, I think he went viral, and this is Major Waves I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
and
he's big.
Every time I checked his page, he had another 3,000 followers, another 4,000 followers, and it was just blowing my mind. I was like, this is where it's at. This is where people are really paying attention. So I did my first design in December of 2018. I'm sorry, 2019. And that was my Playboy Bunny Air Force One.
Yeah.
So I did a reflective Playboy Bunny and kind of tested that out.
Were you like watching tutorials or anything, or like how did you like? Because I got really interested into doing like Louis Vuitton and Gucci phone cases. I found one tutorial maybe like a few months ago by Customizer Depot. I don't know if you've heard of them or if you're familiar with them, but other than that, I couldn't find any tutorials on how to do it. So like, was it hard for you to figure that out, or how'd that work?
So it wasn't too hard to figure out. I mean, I like did my research. I went on every Google page, every customizer, whether they're major or super minor, United States based, European based. I just went every customizer I can find to figure out how to make them. And it's funny because I was looking for, that information everywhere else when right in front of me, the guy who I learned how to do my phone cases also off of Explicit. Explicit had basically a class where he taught a bunch of students, how to do these custom stuff. And one of them also did custom shoes. His name's Sneakerhead in the Bay.
Oh yeah, I subscribe to him. He's dope. He's dope.
Awesome, man. Yeah. He is so cool. He's so down to earth. He's just like one of you and me, like.
You've met him?
No.
Okay, I didn't know if you met him.
Videos,
Yeah, he is really relatable. He's a cool dude.
And his videos were pretty informative for a lot of his customs, and that's kind of how I learned how to do the reflective customs. And there were customizers out there like Sophie Sophs. She sells the reflective decals, the full color decals, all that stuff. And I was like, that's great and all, but how do I control that myself so I can come up with a design?
Right. She taught me the heat transfer thing too.
Yep. And heat transfers, I think, is just so cool because you can bring a totally different aspect to customizing without having to have a $20,000 direct to garment printer.
Right.
Because a lot of these bigger shoe brands out here, the ones who are getting hundreds of orders a day, what they're doing is they don't have 100 customizers in their warehouse working on shoes. They have a machine that they're putting through, and the designs are just getting printed on and then on to the next. So that kind of hurts, the whole custom artist. That's what we do. You're right. It is lonely. You take your time working 2 hours on a custom design. And the satisfaction of that is like you have a happy customer and you build your portfolio. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to compete,
It really is. And it's just like, so I was going to ask you a little bit later, but since we're already talking on it, but I do some heat transfer stuff too. And it's honestly because when you get like 50 and 60 orders of like people it's just really annoying having to sit there and stencil and paint, and it takes forever. But like heat transferring, it does the same thing essentially. But it's just a time factor for me, man. So I was looking on your page and I noticed you had like really cool heat transfer designs. The only issue, so like with the Sophie Sales video, I don't know if you do this exact same thing, but like I literally bought that printer and bought those same exact heat transfer sheets and just like took the mini RN I see in the background, like the exact same thing. So I don't know if other people are using that, because I feel like the ones that other people are using seems like higher quality, like with the butterfly Air Force Ones and stuff like that. And I've had like other customizers ask me like how people are. Yep, there it goes. There it goes. Yeah, like so did you do that same thing, or is there a different machine, or like how does that happen?
Yeah, so for the butterfly Force Ones, like I had to figure out how to do like full color,
Yeah.
Because everything else has been like this, just the gray reflective. So I really wanted to figure out how to get that full column or full custom color that's heat transfer. So I started Googling heat transfer full color premium, all the same keywords that Sophie Soph used. And then I sourced a company that was able to make these for me. And from there, it's like, I'm in. Now I can start really getting creative with these designs, really having fun, like with one pieces. For example, I just made some customs for a local rapper who wanted his face on them.
Wow.
And I was like, I can tell you right now, man, if I buy these heat transfers, it'll look 10 times better than if I paint your face.
Exactly.
There's detail that I can't get in there. I'd rather have something that's full color, that's up close. You can see all the detail. You can see all the color.
Right.
And it's not going to come off. It's not going to
durable.
It's going to look good. So we went with that, and he was completely satisfied with that. That you're right. It's a time saver, one. And two, it really does help your quality. I mean, it makes it look like a professionally done shoe.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that was so as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, because you're just sitting here because I don't know if you've had to deal with this, but like even with customers, so I typically tell people like 4 to 6 weeks like on custom shoes. And honestly, I'm like and the more orders you get, like the more that has to get pushed back. But I think people think it's like a really quick process, and like the painting's the easy part. It's the prepping and all that other stuff that takes a long time. So like when I saw the heat transfers, I was like, man, I gotta. I'm still trying to figure out that full color thing, but I was like, man, that's something that like I need to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, shoot me a DM
Yeah.
after.
I got you. Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk. And so I think we kind of like talked about this. But so my second question I have for you was, I know you got into doing phone cases and everything like that, and like your business took off. But when did you? It seems like now that your main focus is shoes. So like, when did you know that like, okay, like no shoes, this is what I'm doing. Like I'm pursuing this 110%.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I was about, like I said, I started them in December of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And after about 3 full months of selling, just the reflective shoes that I'd made,
Right.
I had done the same business that I did all of 2019 with just phone cases.
Wow.
So it was at that point where I was like, wow, like a year's worth of sales that it took me, selling phone cases, I did in 3 months selling shoes with 4 styles in my portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's time to start ramping it up. It's time to start buying some more shoes and coming out with some more designs. Mm-hmm. And
the profit margin's probably a lot higher, I'm assuming.
Profit margins were a lot higher on the phone cases
than
it was with the shoes.
Okay.
It's really, really hard to find a shop who's going to get you those wholesale prices for Air Forces.
I have not found that.
I
haven't found anybody. Like I was talking to the Jesus Custom Footwear. Like he was on like episode 3. And he was like, man, I've been doing this for 10 years and I still haven't even like, I don't know. You're going to have to go to China or something. I really don't know what to do for that.
That's a scary thing too, to think that customers out there, are desperate for those margins where they might need to go to China. Right. Because I'm always scared of like, China products in general. I always test them out. Like I recently did buy some shoelaces.
Mm-hmm.
These are the fully reflective shoelaces that I don't sell on my website, but I do for custom requests.
Uh-huh.
And those, like the first set of that I got in, they were too short. And of course I didn't pay attention to size or any of that stuff. Quality of them the first set ended up actually breaking apart if I pulled it too hard.
Wow.
So
okay.
Like that's a no-go. You always have to do quality checks when you get stuff from China, because the margins will be there, but the quality isn't always.
Right.
And if something as simple as a shoelace isn't coming quality on the first batch, can you imagine a
shoe?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's funny though. I do have a friend out in Canada. He's a customizer that was born and raised in New York, now lives on East Coast Canada, and he's making a killing out there.
Wow.
Because he recently just found out that he has a friend who has a Nike account.
Of course.
Now he gets Air Forces for about half the price that anybody else does. And he still sells them for the same $200, $250 price point.
Mm-hmm.
So in a business like this where margins are so slim, something like that is a blessing and a game changer.
It really is. Yeah, that's something obviously I don't know anybody with a Nike account. Honestly, I've even like thought about reaching out to like, because you can get it, like, so you can get that wholesaler, but you have to have like a Dick, like you have to be like Dick's or Champs or Foot Locker or something. You have to like own one of those stores and then get that. You can't just be like an individual trying to get that. And so, yeah, your friend having a Nike account, that's huge. But I've even tried to like, hey, like, can I buy shoes from you guys? And like, let's work out a deal or anything like that. Because the profit margin would go up so much if we weren't spending $100 per shoe. And I feel like even with my custom prices, so a lot of times it'll be like $350, $400, but people don't realize that the shoe's $100. And like, so it would go up a lot if you could figure that out.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I saw a De Jesus Customs video on, how much you think these shoes are worth.
Right.
And it's really mind blowing to see a lot of these customizers out here that are setting their prices, kind of low for all the work that they're doing. And, you really look at the detail and it's like, I personally wouldn't do 3 hours of work to make $70 or
not at all.
It's just that kind of stuff's not worth it. I think it's really important for customizers to all, kind of help each other out by setting competitive prices. Keeping it at that $200 level is really, really important, because the second you go under, it doesn't even become worth it. And like, I was talking to him about that too, because I'm like that video, there was people that were doing like amazing, like they can paint your mom on a shoe and it looked just like your mom, but they're charging like $115. And I'm like, that's not even worth with shipping. Like, that's not even like, I'm like, bro, that's like, you literally, I don't understand that at all. And I feel like, and I do agree that would help us out a lot, because a lot of people are like comparing
high quality and thinking that it's worth $150 or $100. And like, I'm not personally, I don't price anything, or I try not to price anything under like $200, because at that point it's not even worth like the time and like that I'm putting in for it. But yeah, like that video is nuts. There's some amazing artwork in there. So
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
and I think
when it comes to that whole margin thing, like my whole take on it was, one, I'm probably never going to get a wholesale account for Nike.
Yeah.
So with that being said, like how do I build, my customs, my products to be able to like open up my margins?
Mm-hmm.
And what I was thinking of is, right now I'm still building my portfolio, and I'd say I'll be building my portfolio for maybe this next year.
Mm-hmm.
But once I get to a point where my portfolio is big enough and I have enough collections, I'll be able to come up with, a low tier, here are basic customs, mid tier, a little more intricate customs, and top quality tier customs that are going to retail for about $300 to $400. Right. Creating those price ranges, I think, will definitely help. And it'll also help create value. I mean, that's what really breaks apart the 30 minutes you spend on doing something that's heat transferred, and 4 hours that you do painting someone's mom's face.
Of course. So how long have you been doing this?
Just about a year. Customizing shoes. Yeah.
Wow. You've been doing it for, bro, you're on your way if you've been doing this for a year. I was looking at your here. I mean, it brings me right to my next question, but yeah, no, like you only been doing this for a year? Like that's
actually since December, so a little less than a year.
Yeah, like that's crazy, man. You're doing great. And so yeah, so my next question was, I was just scrolling down and I looked on your social media, and like you have amazing product photography. It even looked like you had some like famous people or influencers or whatever it may be. It looked like you had a lot of like very popular people like wearing your shoes and everything like that. So my next question was, considering you have like one of the best, so I put you up there. I don't know if you know what Drip Creations is.
That's actually what I was referencing earlier.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that. They have very good product photography, but yours was like, it kind of reminded me of that, and it's very high quality. And so my question was like, do you have a photographer, or how do you go about, like taking photos of your shoes?
Yeah, so everything I own is taken with my camera. I don't have it next to me, but I just have a Nikon D5300 and a couple different lenses behind, you see right down there, that I use for my product photography. I try to get it in a really well-lit place to take the pictures. And a lot of the pictures, actually, I think I can show you really quick, right behind me on my screen. Yeah. Pictures like this right here, those were all taken at my previous house that I lived at. I actually just moved. And I had a room where it was nothing but pretty much windows. It was a sunroom. Right. So I was able to just put a shelf up, put my shoes up, and every time the picture came out, 10 out of 10 quality. But now that I've moved, I'm now in a little bit of a darker space. Right. So that's one thing I need is light. So I went outside, started taking some pictures. I'm trying to figure out where I want to take my pictures going forward. But I did get inspiration from Drip Creations, and that's kind of where I took the pictures on my turf that I have outside. Just a really clean green background to highlight the shoe. And I think going forward, that's going to be my strategy, is just having that be my product picture, the green in the background. Right.
Yeah, because they have a lot of, they do pretty much all heat transfer vinyl, I think. Yeah, and so I'm assuming with them, the high volume that they're doing, they probably have like a huge vinyl printer or whatever it is, I'm assuming, which is very expensive. But yeah, no, they have wonderful product photography. So I was looking at yours. That's why I'm like blown away that you've been doing this for a year, because like looking at your profile looks like that you have a lot of experience, which I'm sure you do, but like it looks like you've been doing it for a very long time. So you're doing a great job with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And so my next question was, on your profile and even on your website, it looks like, so you have phone cases. If you scroll down, you also have shoes, of course, but you also have like masks and different things like that. And so I was wondering, for you, are you trying to build like a custom brand, or do you want to more so focus on just doing custom shoes? Or like, what's your big focus, or maybe you want to do all of it, or what is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does hurt a brand if they try to spread themselves too thin across too many different platforms or products. So what I try to do is I try to keep my main focus and then supplemental products that I can sell as add-ons. Okay. So right now, of course, shoes is like where the money is for my business. So I'm pushing out new shoes, hopefully every other week. Right. And I'm really, really like trying to find things that'll supplement that. Like right now, everyone's wearing masks. Yeah. People love my reflective stuff, and they love the bootleg Chanel, Louis, Gucci logos. So I just put that on a mask, and those have been selling really well. And then socks. I just recently added socks. They're customized dyed socks, which I'm sure you've seen
Yeah.
everywhere. But it's just one more thing that I can use to help dress my customer from top to bottom. Eventually, I want to break into clothing. That's not my main priority right now. You know, I have a lot of friends and I have a lot of resources that I can use to really dive deep into it. But I just don't think it's the right time for me right now, because then I will stray my focus from
doing everything,
doing what's making money. So eventually, yes, I want to have everything. I want to have masks, and I want to do things more, you know, with more bootleg stuff, like more Louis, more Gucci. And then hopefully, you know, I'll have something like Drip Creations has, where they have a full clothing line and then they have their full shoe line that you can wear together.
Right.
So that would be pretty fun.
And I think what's interesting about yours, so with Drip Creations, they have, it seems like they appeal to just like women typically, or girls or women. It seems like their audience. Yours, it seemed, what I thought was interesting is that it definitely seemed like it could be for both men and women. But yeah, no, that was an interesting point, like bringing up with that with t-shirts and spreading yourself too thin. I think so I just got into t-shirts, and honestly, like I literally just started making my own t-shirts with like my logo on it. T-shirts are a lot, man. Like that's a very, and I didn't realize that going into it. One, you have to figure out how to get them wholesale, which isn't the hardest part, but then you got to figure out, you know, what t-shirt's the best quality, at what price, what designs can I do, what can I not do, how do I want to do? I want to screen print or vinyl, or different things like that. And to be doing all of that with mask and phone cases and shoes, yeah, that would be a ton. Do people like ask you for shirts a lot, or is that just something you want to be doing?
Yeah, I think it's just something I want to be doing. Like I said, I mean, I have friends who own clothing brands, and you know, if I was to do it, I know how to do it right.
Right.
That's my biggest thing, is I would never rush to market with a product that's not ready. You know, if I'm going to come out with a t-shirt, I want it to have the best custom tags, the best quality, the longest lasting material. You know, there's a lot more that goes into just like, hey, I want to sell a t-shirt. Let's do it. Let's design it, you know? And I think that process alone is going to take too much time from where I'm at now.
Right. And
if my orders were a lot less and I had a lot more time, then sure, I'd like be able to look into it more. But every day it's just got to get this out, got to get this out. Because like you said, you know, wait time's 4 to 6 weeks for you. Like right now for me, it's like 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah. And it's going down because I'm just being able to knock these out so much quicker.
Yeah, with the transfer vinyl.
But the second you think you're cleared, you knocked out that for the week, you have nothing else to do, boom, hops right back up.
Yeah, 4 or 5 more orders. And I think, and it's tough, man, because like we live in a microwave society with Amazon Prime. Like people want their shoes to, like, they want it yesterday. Like people want everything right then and there. And so even with like the 4 to 6 week time frame that I usually tell people, they're like, hey, like, any update? Is it done yet? And I'm like, man, like I haven't even, like, the Nike hasn't even delivered them yet. Like, so yeah, no, it is really tough with that. But do you sell on any other platforms, or is it just, you know, your website and Instagram?
Yeah. So I currently sell I have my Shopify website. Okay. I have the Custom Movement, which is a platform for custom shoes, clothes, accessories, things like that. And then of course that's on Etsy. Okay.
How does so yeah, that was a question I had for you. So how does the Custom Move? I've seen it a lot. And I haven't had them specifically approach me, but I've seen like there's like other kind of, I don't want to say knockoff versions, but other versions of them, other platforms like that. So how does the Custom Movement work exactly? It's huge. I'm just curious about it.
Yeah, no, the Custom Movement that's the main source of my business, actually, more than my website, more than Etsy. That is my #1 sales channel. What they do is for a 10% fee of your sale, you're going to put your, you know, art, whatever that may be, your shoes, maybe you do custom sweaters, whatever. Right. And they put it on their platform, which gets, I mean, I actually just posted my socks. Let me see if you can see that. Yeah. And that was about an hour ago I posted them. And right now I have 1.2 thousand views and 94 likes. Okay. And with that, I mean, 1,400 people saw one product of mine in an hour. Right. I might not get 1,400 people on my website in a week.
Yeah, I don't even have 1,400 followers. So yeah, yeah,
so that platform, that's what you're really like getting into. That 10% fee, I think, is really paid for with how many people see it. I mean, I have 94 people that have my socks saved in their favorites. Right. The odds of them coming back is actually pretty good. Yeah. So
it's that exposure either way. Now they know who you are. They recognize that name, and they can definitely recognize those socks in that picture. So. And I think exposure is huge because a lot of times people think like, oh, I didn't make any sales, so it's not it's not important, but no, like people will recognize that name, and it's just brand recognition.
Yeah.
And so with that, do you like, do they reach out to you, or can you reach out to them, or like how does that, you like set up an account or?
Yeah. So the way I did it was, I mean, I saw them and I was just super interested.
Mhm.
Reached out to them when I had maybe like 5 styles on, my portfolio, and didn't hear back on Instagram. Hit them up again, didn't hear back. Hit them up
Yeah.
again, didn't hear back. I think by the 4th or 5th time I reached out. But by that time I had more shoes. They
Right.
said, "Hey, cool, we love your work. Awesome, let's get you set up with an account." Great.
Okay.
Send me a link. And I think it was they kept seeing it. They just didn't want to
Yeah.
add me because I was too new.
Mm-hmm.
And it is true. The more that you have in your portfolio on your website, like on your custom movement profile, the
Right.
more views you get, the more people have like find you.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
yeah, maybe it
it's
wasn't
similar
right.
to Etsy, but specifically for custom shoes. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I've seen it everywhere, and I'm like, what is the cut? I personally, I thought that they were just so like with Customizer Depot, they just like share your cut, like so you do use the hashtag or whatever, and they
Yeah.
find it through the hashtag, and then they share you on their page just to get you more exposure. So that's honestly what I thought it was. But then I've seen like more recently, I've seen more and more people have like the custom movement partner in their bio, and I was like, what? Yeah, what is that? I didn't know that, but that's a solid idea. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it kind of helps, I mean, it's like
Mhm.
you have somebody fighting for you when you're not even paying attention.
Right.
I'm not doing anything. I just posted one thing and then it's automatically getting that exposure. I don't have to run any ads. I don't have to worry about doing any Instagram marketing. Once I post something, it gets on their main page and their customers see it.
Right.
Like that's the nice thing. There are a couple things, and I wouldn't say necessarily like gripes, but things that they could do better to better support the artist.
Right.
And seeing that, I always have this idea of, I like what they're doing. Is there a way I can do that better?
Right.
I think down the line, I would like to create, my own platform for customizers,
sure.
but something that's a little more tailored to the customizer. Instead of a 10% fee, why not do an 8% fee?
Right.
Maybe create something that's a little more easy to talk to customers and keep them updated.
Yeah, that was my question. Can they so a lot of times on Etsy, I'll have people be like, hey, this is cool. Can we do this? Like, can they reach out to you and ask for custom orders or?
Yeah. So on every one of my shoes, I have colors are fully customizable.
Okay.
If they want to just direct message you and ask about customs, hey, could you possibly make this? They can still do
Right.
that. So that's all good and true there. I just think they can do better things at, like, for example, setting up your page. You have to go through and set up each product individually rather than, hey, I have a whole website. Can I integrate it onto your site?
Yeah, I see what you mean. And that takes
So
a
if I
lot
was
of
to
time.
create my own custom movement, I'd do something like that.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get that. I bet you with your product photography, which it makes sense why you key on it so much. Cause I bet with your product photography, all those marketplaces like that is literally make or break. I think what was interesting is like, so when I first started Etsy, like kind of, you were talking about the pink rose Air Force Ones that I did. So I didn't have a photographer. That was literally like the very first pictures I did of those were trash. Like I literally like put them on like a stone background on like top of like this like hangover, and I like took a pictures of them with my iPhone, and that was it. And I didn't get any sales. Then I got a photographer on my team, and like he took amazing pictures that are on my website and everything now. And dude, I made like $2,000 or $3,000 off of that one listing just because he took those pictures. So like I'm like, that's why I really understand what you're saying about product photography, and I'm sure that's probably why you're getting like 1,400 people instantly looking at your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you want something that stands out. It may be the same butterfly or forest one that everybody else is making.
Right.
But your picture, pops out first. It's like it's a race to the customer's eye.
Right, right. And so what was the hardest custom that you've done to date? It can be like with phones or mask or just shoes, period. Like what's the hardest custom you've done?
Yeah. I mean, well, all I've really been doing is, my reflective and then my painted shoes.
Right.
So I had somebody ask me to make a Black Lives Matter custom.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many ideas, and everything. I was like, great, this could be really fun. Let's figure it out. We got together, we designed it, and he wanted the black bandana, which I'm sure you've seen several times on the mid part of the Nike around the swoosh. And I was like, great, this looks super easy. I've seen so many people do it. You just cut the fabric, you glue it on, game over.
Right.
For whatever reason, it was so thin of a fabric that I just couldn't get it cut perfectly. So I just went through maybe like 5 bandanas just to get it perfect so that everything sat flush. Because I could have rushed it and could have had little gaps and had things not look perfect. but that's not what I deliver,
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure it was perfect. So I even had my girlfriend like helping me out.
Yeah.
Like 2 in the morning, I was like, please, like I'm not gonna stop until I finish this pair.
Yeah.
Can you help me finish it?
That one's really like on the tutorials, they make it look so like I watched the Sneakerhead in the Bay tutorial to do it. For my I did a blue and orange pair. But yeah, no, that the pair that you showed me, the Black Lives Matter pair, that's really, really cool and it is flush. I tried to do it, bro, and it like I ran through like 4 or 5 pairs, and I don't know why the tutorials make it look so easy. It is so hard to get it aligned on the sides. Like that is extremely hard, and it's and like on the sides and on the curve of the swoosh. That is a really difficult thing. I also had my girlfriend help me, so I think that one's really funny.
Yeah, and every great man is a great woman, right?
For sure, man. For sure, man. She has my back. And so what's been your favorite custom?
Honestly, I think I mentioned this to you earlier, but man, like when you make a custom for somebody who has an idea and they approach you with it and you bring it to life, I think that is the coolest thing. I had a mom, she wanted to get some custom Air Forces for her son, some Pride Air Forces.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, never done anything like this. Let's design something. Send me some pictures of things you like, and we'll put your own taste on it. And we did. She got them. She loved them. Her son loved them. Boom. Yeah. Happy story, happy ending.
Right.
Local rappers. I've worked with a couple local rappers who wanted some custom kicks out of San Diego. And same thing. Sometimes they're very hands-on. I want it to be exactly like this. Sometimes they're like, hey, I want you to do your thing, whatever you think looks best. Right. And that's always pressure, because you don't always have the same vision someone else does.
I hate those. I personally don't like those, but
man, but when it comes out good and then you see their face and they're just like, wow, this is everything I wanted. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
And I think those are my favorite to work on, because it's it's not the norm. It's one of ones,
Right.
I won't be making again. And
it's like picking a baby. It's like picking your favorite child.
Yep.
Do you have so my next question is like, do you have a custom that means the most to you? And I know it's like similar to the last one. So like for me, the custom that means the most to me is I did a pair of custom cleats for an NFL linebacker. And the reason like that means the most to me is because like my dream, like as a kid, I played football and basketball growing up. So my dream was always just like any kid, NBA, NFL. Like I really wanted to do that. Obviously that didn't happen, but it was really, really cool for me because like, I was able to work and work on a craft that got to that point. And so to me, that has like the most like meaning behind it. So do you have one that like, like, I don't know if it's the Black Lives Matter movement or whatever it may be, or the Pride or anything like that. Was there anyone that like, really like means a lot to you?
I mean, I wouldn't say I have like a special attachment to anything like that, to that caliber, because that is just awesome. Making, a custom pair for anybody of significance is fun and cool. Getting to know like who that's going to, who that's being delivered to. Whereas me, I get my orders and it's just a name that pops up with an address.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say yet, but I'm really, really hoping for that. To find somebody that I can really work on a really cool custom with front to back, and then be able to give them the end product of something that I really love,
Right.
Like I'm really passionate about music, so I'm kind of try to stay tapped in on the local music scene. And eventually I hope to work with an artist that, wears them on stage one day or something,
right.
or a music video or just things like that.
Yeah. And being in California, like I'm sure there's a lot of opportunities for that too.
Yeah, plenty. A lot of cool talent. I do produce music too.
Oh wow.
My little setup in the back.
Yeah. I was wondering.
Yeah, and over the summer we had worked with. I did a custom shoe for a guy named Ryan Bowers.
Okay.
He recently committed suicide, and this is about 2 weeks after I made the custom.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Thank you. He had opened up a thing that we were going to call Bowers Compound, and basically what it was artists and customizers and stores and music studios all in one building as a real creative outlet for people to come in. And I'd set up a store there, and I was designing some shoes with the customer, and then found out that he was 100 yards away in another room and shot himself in the head.
Wow.
And that was just so surreal to me, because I just made him a custom pair of shoes. We worked on it. He was really excited. And for something like that to happen, it's like, well, now I have a pair of shoes. I guess that means the most to me, that pair, because of everything that we went through before that all happened, to designing the shoes, getting to know him, getting to know him as a musician, to then something as tragic like that happening. I'd say actually, I changed my answer for the last one. That's definitely my most heartfelt pair of shoes that I've ever made.
Yeah, because you were at least like in the difficult time he was going through, which like a lot of people don't see, but like just being able to do custom shoes can really like brighten somebody's day in ways that you don't even know. So you delivering him that custom shoe, at least like he got like a very excited moment and a great moment of happiness just off a pair of shoes, you know? And I think that's really, really cool.
He was super excited, you know, he was really excited. And when we did a celebration of life, a lot of his family actually came up to me and said, hey, we love the shoes. Can we keep the shoes? And I was sitting here like, of course, this is your guys', like, you know, I mean, if anything, I'd like to take the shoes back, put them in a nice box or case, and then represent it to the family. But yeah, at the end of the day, I have a great video of him receiving the shoes, and that big smile on his face is what, you know, keeps him lasting in my memory. And yeah, I mean, he was plugged into music. That's kind of how I met him and a lot of other people that do music. And that's how I started to make shoes for the local rappers and the local music scene.
Yeah, no, that's a powerful message, man. That's really cool. And so my last final question. So what's a customizer that you look up to or that you watch a lot of? It's like, so for when I started in 2017, and literally it was just me, literally hours a day. And I still do it sometimes, like just for fun, like hours a day, literally going on YouTube, like finding Serato or like the Jesus Custom Footwear. He's a big one. He's like the only one that he's like the main one for tutorials. Customizer Depot. Like there's just so many people that like I've looked up to and like that have really helped me grow as an artist. And like when I had the Jesus on like the podcast, I was like, oh, hey, like I've been watching you for 4 years. Like, hey, you know what I mean? It was kind of weird, but I was like, oh, like, hey, how you doing? Like, so is there a customizer that like you look up to or that you kind of aspire to be like, or, you know, that you really like keep your eye on?
Yeah. I mean, Jesus Customs, he's so cool. He's so nice. And like the fact that he's willing to help the next generation of customizers is huge. Cause usually, I mean, people really keep that stuff close to their chest. You know, it's the game's sold, not told. If you want that information, you got to go really find it. But he kind of makes that accessible without giving away too much. And yeah, I mean, that in itself inspires me because if you're not, you know, leaving a legacy, you know, if you're not leaving other customizers in your walk or in your wake, like, what did you really like? What were you here for? What's your point of being on, you know, the planet? Just to make some money for yourself? No, you want to help other people. You want other people to kind of carry on what you started. So I think Jesus Customs is going to be a name that goes on for a while in customizing.
I think so too.
And then another guy, he came from my city, San Diego, California, is Major Waves.
Yeah.
He is just on top. He's got super innovative creations. I mean, I haven't seen anything like some of his customs. He's done really crazy, like reflective Yu-Gi-Oh customs, which sold out, which is crazy to me because I'm just glad to know that people still fuck with. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh.
You're good. You're good.
That one out.
No, you're good.
But he has also these two other, you know, girls that are in business that kind of do the whole bootleg thing where they make Chanel bags and you know, things like that. And those three, I think, are like the holy trinity of San Diego customizers because they went from zero to hero. I mean, his friend, or I'm not sure how they're related, maybe cousins or something, but her name's Spanish Fly. And she is a huge customizer out of San Diego. She just posted a video of, I think she had like 20 or stacks of 20 shoes just lined up in her living room. Man, you know, that's the dream right there.
That is the dream.
Much of a headache as that sounds, that's kind of the dream.
Yeah, honestly, that is my whole entire goal. Cause like I started on like my kitchen table and like in my garage or whatever. So like now I have a little like office space or studio. But yeah, I see a lot of people that have like just up to the ceiling, and I'm like, man, like it honestly motivates you, like just inspires you just to. Because I think you brought up an interesting point about like the Jesus, like how it's like this thing of competition and like, oh, I'm not gonna give away my secrets, but like the world's abundant, man. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody can eat. There's opportunities for everybody, you know, to really make a name for themselves and really build a business. And so stuff like that is really, really important. And I think that is to me why the Jesus and like customizers like Major Waves and stuff like that, them starting, one reason like I admire them is because they started with no YouTube tutorials. Like YouTube wasn't really popping back then, like 10 years ago, however long it was. But yeah, like being able to blow up and then bring other people up with you, I think is really, really important.
Yep. 100%. That's my goal, you know?
Yeah.
I got to get my team to eat. Build my team. I want to have my own personal photographer. That's my homie. I want to have my own marketing guy. That's my homie. You know.
Yeah.
That's what I want it to be.
For sure, man. Yeah, that's same here. That's the whole vision. But man, I appreciate you for coming on to the show. Like it was I'd say this is probably one of our best episodes. Like this was really, really cool. So I appreciate you coming on to the show short notice. So if you want to tell people where they can find you, of course I'll plug all your information down below in the description box. But if you want to tell people real quick, you can.
Yeah, just check me out at Sandez Official, SANDEZ Official. On Instagram, you can also find me at sandezofficial.com. That's my website. And then on the Custom Movement at Sandez Official. So Sweet. Everything's pretty easy to find. If you guys have any questions, shoot me a DM. Let's get some work going.
Sweet, man. Well, thank you for coming on. They'll definitely with that product photography. Yeah, people will be hearing about you, bro.
Isaiah, thanks, man. I wish you the best of luck for the podcast. So excited you brought me on, man. Really can't wait to see, how this does. Hopefully some people see it.
Yeah, for sure. No, trust me, I'll plug it everywhere I can. Honestly, I'll probably have you on again because so I'm interviewing other artists, but I also kind of want to I want to have like topics and different things like that. I just don't know what all to talk about. Like what topics can we focus on for a podcast episode or anything like that?
I think a good idea for an episode would be something to do with how to market, how to get yourself out there. Cause I think that was probably the hardest thing for me to figure out.
Right.
Once I did, it was clockwork. So
sweet. Okay. Well, you're going to be on that episode, brother. Like we're definitely going to do that again. So yeah, I think this podcast can be a really cool thing. And honestly, like just with you talking, like kind of talking about with, I can't remember your friend's name, that like passed away, but
Ryan Bowers. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Kind of like having that studio space. Like my goal is I eventually want to have like their sneaker cons, their shirt cons. Like I want to have a custom con. Like that is that would be really all right. I thought it'd be dope. So that's like my whole entire goal. And like, I think like with this podcast, that could be really cool. So, yeah, no, like, dude, I definitely like your vibe. Like, I think I definitely want to have you on more. And so if you want to like start that, like how to market yourself as a custom sneaker, like artist or whatever, like we should definitely do that.
Sweet. I'm in, man. Isaiah, thanks so much, bro.
For sure, man. Great meeting you. Thank you for coming on.
No worries. Hey, brother.
See you, man. All right, guys. So there you have it. I definitely want to, give a huge shout out to Sandez Official. That was a wonderful episode. Definitely looking to have him on in the future. So that's definitely going to be a thing. So stay in tune for that. But yeah, man, I'll definitely, include a lot of his stuff and tag it in the description box below. But we'll see you guys on the next episode of the podcast.